I paid $14,000 to fly my family to my graduation. They went to Italy instead. You're not even a real doctor, my Uncle Robert posted. So, I sent them the degree with the invoice. 3 hours later, my mom was calling nonstop. You're not a real doctor, my uncle wrote in the comments. Just that. No congrats. No emojis. No well done. Just those 5 words under the photo I posted from the ceremony. My robe was still wrinkled. My hair looked like I'd fought wind and lost. But I'd never felt prouder. Not when I got accepted, not when I passed boards, not even when I delivered my first diagnosis without a supervisor over my shoulder. That photo was the moment I let myself exhale. I'd made it and they spat on it. It started with the tickets. I spent $14,000, yes, for zeros, flying them in business class. Because Mom's back couldn't handle coach, and Dad deserved some comfort after everything he'd done for me. I didn't argue, I just paid. I even printed their itineraries on nice paper and tucked them into gift envelopes. Your flight leaves the 4th, I told them. Commencement is the 6th. Dinner's on me after. Don't be late. They're reading my name early. Mom clapped. Dad nodded. Emma, my sister, asked if she could bring her boyfriend. I said yes. They never got on the plane. 3 hours before their flight, I got a text from Emma. We're not going to make it. Something came up. I'll explain later. Love you. That was it. I spent my graduation scanning every face in the crowd except the one I wanted to see. I kept glancing at the reserved row, empty. I had to keep smiling for the cameras. I shook hands, got my diploma, took the group shot alone. It wasn't until I checked Meta that I realized what something came up actually meant. There they were. Mom, Dad, and Emma standing in front of a white chapel on a cliff, turquoise water stretching behind them like a postcard. The caption read, Dreams come true in Amalfi Coast. Family time is the best time. No mention of me, no apology, just champagne flutes, sun hats, and comments from relatives like, so deserved. Italy looks good on you, girl. Where's Dr. Nephew? Then my Uncle Robert chimed in. He's not a real doctor. That comment, that's what broke me. Not the missed flight, not the money, not the empty seat at graduation, those 5 words. Because I paid for every single thing, and they treated me like I was optional. So I did the one thing they didn't expect. I sent them a high-res scan of the diploma, and right underneath it, I attached a copy of the flight invoice labeled Paid in Full. Then, I turned off my phone. 3 hours later, my mom was calling nonstop, but by then, I had already done something worse. I didn't block her. Not yet. I wanted to see how long it would take before she said what she really meant. The first voicemail was all fake tears. Sweetheart, we didn't think you'd mind. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you've always been so independent. The second was sharper. You're being dramatic. You don't understand how stressful things have been lately. By the third, she dropped the act completely. You didn't even go to med school. It was just some online program, right? Don't pretend this is Stanford. That's when I blocked her and Emma and my dad. But I wasn't done listening. I went back to the Meta post, refreshed it. My Uncle Robert's comment, "You're not a real doctor," had racked up 37 likes. I recognized the names. Aunt Carol, Cousin Ben, even my godfather who once gave me a stethoscope for my 12th birthday with a card that read, "For our future Dr. Ethan." I stared at it and I started saving screenshots, not out of spite, out of strategy. 2 days later, I got a DM from my cousin Olivia. She's the only one who ever had a shred of empathy. "Hey, I don't agree with what they did. Just so you know, your mom told everyone you canceled the graduation. Said it wasn't happening. I only found out when you posted the pics. Oh, so now I was the villain." I asked her one thing, just one. Did they really say that? Olivia didn't respond in words. She sent me a screenshot of the family group chat. My mom. Well, Ethan made it clear we weren't invited. Said it would be awkward and that he'd rather celebrate with his real friends. My dad. Let him sulk. Italy is better than sitting through another lecture about his doctor stuff. Emma. LOL. He's probably diagnosing himself with abandonment issues. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Then I went to my Google Drive, opened a folder titled Family Receipts, and added the screenshot. Because here's what they conveniently forgot. I'd paid for everything. In December alone, I sent my parents $2,500. They said it was for the heating bill. 2 days later, Emma posted a story in a ski resort spa. Self-care matters #grateful. Last spring, I covered the down payment for Dad's new car. He said the dealership was giving him trouble. He forgot I have access to the joint account. The charge was processed at a Tiffany & Company store. The breaking point? When I paid for Emma's emergency dental surgery. She told me she was in pain, couldn't chew, begged me to help. I wired $1,800 within the hour. 2 weeks later, she posted a selfie from Bali. Bright teeth, frozen cocktail, caption, white smiles and white wine. So, I started collecting every bank transfer, every PayPal memo, every thank you text that turned into a guilt trip days later. Every time they cried poor then bragged online. I kept thinking maybe I'm the crazy one. But then I found something that killed that thought forever. It was an accident. I was cleaning out my old laptop, the one I used during rotations, and found a backup file labeled Grad 2024. I clicked it, expecting old flashcards. Instead, I found audio recordings. You see, I'd recorded some of my calls with my parents while I was studying. Not on purpose. I used a call recorder app to track my study sessions and sometimes forgot to turn it off. One file stood out. It was dated March 3rd, the day I bought their graduation tickets. I hit play. My voice. So, I've sent you the confirmation email. You should see the flight to Chicago on the 4th. Hotels booked under my name. Mom's voice. Sweetie, that's a lot. Are you sure you want to spend that much? Dad. Let the boy do it. He's got Dr. Money now, right? Laughter. Emma. Well, if he's really a doctor, not like one of those Zoom degrees. Laughter. Then the worst part. My dad again. He thinks we'll show up to clap like seals. He doesn't realize he's just our retirement plan. The audio ended there. I sat in my chair, completely still. Then I added the file to the folder, named it Not a Real Doctor.mp3. That night I made a plan. Not revenge, revelation. Because if they wanted to treat me like a bank in a lab coat, then it was time for them to deal with the consequences. And I hadn't even sent the final invoice yet. Graduation dinner was supposed to be a celebration, but instead it became an ambush. I had made the reservation weeks in advance. Private room, good lighting, custom menu. I even prepaid the deposit to make sure there were no last-minute excuses. They didn't know I'd still booked it, and they definitely had no idea who else I'd invited. I walked in first, pressed shirt, black suit, calm face, the kind of calm that comes before the tornado sirens. The restaurant manager led me to the room. Then came the others. First, my mother in pearls and perfume, walking like the queen of denial. Then Dad, faking a limp for sympathy. Emma trailed behind, too busy on her phone to notice the extra place settings. They didn't see the projector yet. They didn't ask. When we sat down, Mom opened the performance. We're so proud of you, sweetie. Sorry we couldn't be there for the ceremony, but Italy was once in a lifetime. Dad added, we raised a doctor. Even if Meta doesn't understand that. He smirked. Emma snorted into her wine. Then the door opened again. Uncle Robert walked in. You know, you're not a real doctor, Uncle Robert. He looked confused. I thought this was family only. I smiled. Exactly. Then I stood up. I want to thank you all for coming, I said, clicking the remote. The screen behind me lit up. First slide. This is what family looks like when you're the ATM. I let the silence breathe. Emma blinked. Mom reached for her water. Dad stared at the screen like it was a threat. Next slide. Screenshots. Every transfer. Every just until Friday. Every guilt text. Every fake emergency. Every Cash App request labeled, emergency please. Then audio. I hit play. Dad. He doesn't realize he's just our retirement plan. Emma. Well, if he's really a doctor, not like one of those Zoom degrees. Mom. He always was too sensitive. He'll pay. He always pays. The room was silent. Emma looked like she was about to vomit. Mom's hand trembled as she reached for her clutch. Then came the final video. I had clipped together their meta post, the Amalfi Coast slideshow, layered over my empty graduation row. At the end, a copy of the plane tickets. $14, 26.32 paid in full. Passenger names, all three of them. Destination, nowhere. Then I looked at Uncle Robert. You said I wasn't a real doctor. Care to revise that now? He turned red. It was just a joke, kid. Funny. Didn't feel like a joke when it got 37 likes. Then I turned to the rest. You all pretended I was family only when it was convenient. You wanted a bank, not a brother, not a son. I pulled out a folder, opened it. Inside, copies of the tax returns I filed for them. Credit statements I paid. A notarized letter transferring the house deed back to me. Because yes, the house Emma lived in, I bought it 3 years ago under my name. They'd just been pretending it was theirs. Emma's voice cracked. You said it was a gift. I looked her dead in the eyes. And you treated it like garbage. So now it's not. Mom tried to stand. Sweetheart, we didn't mean that. But I was already speaking. I filed to evict. You'll get the letter by Monday. You'll also find your accounts frozen, the ones connected to my name. The car lease canceled. The shared credit card terminated. The utilities updated. You'll need a new billing address. Dad slammed his fist on the table. You're ruining this family. No, I said. You ruined it when you chose Italy over me. That's when the final guest entered. Professor Ramirez, my mentor from med school, who had driven 2 hours to be there. He walked up to the table, shook my hand, and turned to my family. I was there when he pulled his first night shift, when he stayed up 3 days in a row for his boards. He saved a life before most of you finished breakfast. I watched him become a doctor while you treated him like a wallet. Then he added, looking at Dad, you didn't raise a doctor. You abandoned one. And he walked out. I stood up, closed the laptop, and tucked the projector remote into my coat pocket. This dinner's paid for. That's my last gift to you. And then I walked out, not in anger, not in tears, but in power. I didn't hear from them for 48 hours. No calls, no texts, just a deep, eerie silence. But on the third day, it exploded. Mom went first, the queen of curated chaos. She posted a 6-paragraph meta status with a black and white photo of me from high school. He used to be such a kind boy. We raised him with love. But money changes people. It blinds them. My heart breaks for our broken family. For 100 likes, 36 comments, crying face emojis, distant relatives asking what happened, others chiming in. Kids these days are so selfish. Then came the text from Emma. Just one line. You'll regret this. Funny how people think you'll flinch after you've already burned the bridge behind you. The eviction notice landed on their doorstep Monday morning, just as promised. Signed, sealed, official. Emma posted a crying selfie an hour later with a vague caption. Some people destroy everything just to feel powerful. But karma remembers. I didn't comment. I just smiled because karma was already unpacking her bags. That same afternoon, the hospital board I'd recently joined released their quarterly highlights. My name was there. Dr. Ethan W., MD, Resident Liaison, Patient Safety Task Force. The post blew up. Professional congratulations. Messages from med school peers. Even my old high school biology teacher commented, "You always had it in you. Proud of you, document." The best part, my family was tagged in the original post publicly. By accident or by design, who knows. But now their timeline was flooded with praise. People they lied to now praising the very not a real doctor they'd humiliated. And then came the invoice. No, not just the symbolic one I emailed after graduation. I mean the real one. I hired a lawyer. Had him calculate down to the cent the money I'd given them in the past 4 years. Loans, gifts, emergencies, unpaid credit cards. It totaled $62,387.19. I attached it to an official demand letter, not for repayment. I didn't want a dime, but for closure. The message was simple. This is what it cost me to be your family. You won't get another cent. Emma posted a story 5 minutes after it arrived. Imagine keeping receipts for love. I replied, for the first and last time, imagine selling love like it's a VRBO rental in Amalfi Coast. She blocked me, but it didn't end there. The story began to spread, not because I told it, but because they couldn't stop spinning it. They told neighbors I'd turned into a monster, that I was unstable, that the doctor thing went to his head. So I responded, not with rage, with evidence. I created a private blog, just one post titled, The Price of Family, an Autopsy. I laid it all out. The fake emergencies, the graduation betrayal, screenshots, audio, bank transfers, even the picture of them on the Amalfi Coast cliff, smiling like they hadn't missed the biggest moment of my life. I didn't name them, didn't insult them. I simply told the truth, and I ended it with this. If this makes me heartless, so be it. If setting boundaries is betrayal, so be it. If being used and finally saying enough makes me the villain, then I hope I make a great one. I didn't post it publicly, but someone did. It got shared, and suddenly people started messaging me. Strangers, classmates, even reporters. A podcast invited me to talk about toxic family dynamics. A wellness blog reposted my story under the headline, When Saying No is the Bravest Thing a Doctor Can Do. Then a local paper reached out for an interview. Headline, From Abandoned Graduate to Medical Advocate. One doctor's story. And guess what? They printed it. Front page with a picture of me holding my degree, standing beside an empty row of reserved chairs. The photo went viral. 3 days later, I got a call from Dad. Blocked number. I answered out of curiosity. He didn't say hello. Just, you made your point. Happy now. He kept going. Your mother's not eating. Emma's a mess. You humiliated us. Then the real reason. People at the golf club are asking questions. And there it was. Not guilt, not love, reputation. So I ended the call with a single sentence. Don't worry, Dad. You'll always have Amalfi Coast. Then I hung up. A week later I moved. Not just to a new apartment, to a new life. I bought a townhouse under a different name. No forwarding address, new phone number. But before I disappeared for good, I left one last thing in their mailbox. A framed copy of my degree. Below it, a sticky note. Real doctor, real done. I never looked back. 6 months later, I changed my name. Not legally, not on paper, but everywhere else that mattered. New phone plan, new email, new delivery address, all tied to a new alias. To the people who mattered, I was Dr. Ethan Williams. To the rest, I was nobody. And it was perfect. The townhouse I bought? Quiet. 2 stories. Hardwood floors. A Japanese maple in the backyard that turned blood red in October. The kind of peace you don't appreciate until you've spent 29 years drowning in obligation. I didn't decorate much. Minimalist, clean. No family portraits, no nostalgia. Just framed degrees, medical textbooks, and a coffee maker I loved more than half my bloodline. My days became sacred. Wake up, run 5 miles. Work, patience. Healing people who said, thank you, and meant it. Come home. Silence. Peace. No calls begging for money. No text saying, can we just talk? No threats hidden behind emojis. No guilt packaged in holiday cards. Just me, alive, untouched. But the past has a funny way of knocking even when you've slammed the door shut. It was a Tuesday when the email came. Anonymous sender. Subject line, you might want to see this. Attached. A screenshot of a GoFundMe page created by Emma. Title, Help Our Family Heal from the Past. The photo was an old one. All of us at a barbecue back when I was still naive enough to think they loved me for me. The description said I'd abandoned them, that I used money as a weapon, that I'd hacked into family accounts and left them homeless. They were asking for $50,000. I checked the donations. $12,647 already raised. Dozens of comments like, so sorry you're going through this. Sending prayers. Money doesn't make you better, sweetie. And one from Uncle Robert. Always knew he had issues. Keep your head up. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just poured coffee, sat down, and logged into an old folder labeled Truth Folder. Inside, The full audio of Dad laughing about using me. The screenshot of Emma's spa trip dated 2 days after the dental emergency. The receipts for every gift that turned out to be a lie. And the voicemail from Mom, the one where she said, "Honestly, we just thought you'd keep paying. That's what family does." I uploaded everything. Created a site. Simple black background. No flashy design. Title: "Since you wanted the story, here's the full one." Then I added a note at the top. "This is not revenge. This is reality. I am not fundraising. I am not begging. I am not hiding. I'm just done." I posted the link in one place only, under Emma's GoFundMe as a $1 donation message. "The doctor's still not real. Enjoy the receipts." By noon, the GoFundMe was locked. By 3 p.m., the page was deleted. By 6 o'clock, Emma's Instagram had gone private. And at 9 p.m. sharp, my phone buzzed. New number, local code, probably a burner. I picked up. Silence. Then, "Why are you doing this to us?" My mother. Same voice. Different tone. Thin, weak, desperate. I sipped my coffee. Let her speak. "You already left. Why can't you just forget? Let it go." I finally spoke. "You made me the villain. So now I'm giving you the ending you wrote." She started crying. "We didn't think you'd really leave." "Well," I said, "doctors perform amputations. Sometimes the only way to survive is to cut off what's infected." And I hung up for the last time. It's been a year now. The house they lost, renovated, rented to a family of 5 who actually values things. Sometimes I drive by it just for the poetry. They put a blue mailbox out front, the kind my mother always said looked cheap. It fits the place better now. As for me, I built something better. A new foundation, not just a career, a legacy. I launched a medical podcast, named it Real Doctor, Real Life. The tagline: "Because some stories don't come with applause." First episode, I sent them the degree. In the Invoice, it hit 1 million plays in 3 days. I donated the first $14,000 in ad revenue to a scholarship fund. Named it after my grandfather, the only person who never asked for anything in return. The scholarship's strict requirement: no applications from family members. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside, a birthday card. Cheap, glossy, the kind from a gas station. The message inside said, "We miss you, Em." I smiled, walked outside, lit the card on fire, watched it burn in the steel dish on my patio, flame licking the edges like it was hungry for closure. Then I walked back inside, closed the sliding door, and changed the locks.